Hi, and welcome. I'm Jen, and this is JynDrawz, and this is part 2 to my Scrawlrbox challenge of using up the supplies in the box as fast as I can, as best as I can, seeing how long it takes, and using them up until there is nothing left of them. As you can see, I have found an unused, unsharpened pencil to compare it to. And I've put washi tape on it so I know this is the one to not sharpen and to not use in this challenge. This is what I did in the first video. If you want to see that full process, I will link it down below and I'll have it in a card so you can check that out and see how this all started. And now we're ready to start drawing and filling up these 2 pages. It did take me about 2 hours to do both of these drawings, believe it or not. I couldn't believe it. Well, I should know. Colored pencils are very time consuming and it's a long process, but I'm gonna get through it, and you'll see at the end how much I ended up using of these pencils in this 2-hour session, so I can kind of gauge about how much longer it's going to take to use up the colored pencils. But for the markers, the acrylic paint markers and the fine liner, I have no idea. I did not use those a lot in the current tests that I've been doing, just here and there sparsely. So I'm going to have to make some art using them to start getting those used down and see how that's going to go. But that shouldn't be too hard, let's hope. Let's see. The first drawing is going to be a grid. And I'm going to be drawing some diamond shapes in it. And inside those diamond shapes, I'm going to have some square stones. I don't want to call them diamonds or anything, but they're square gems. Let's call them square gems inside these diamond shapes that I'm going to be coloring in. I just made some squares. I did 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters. You can do whatever size fits and works best on the paper you're using, but I thought this filled the paper really well, and I just sketched it out with a pencil. No, this pencil was not included in the set, but I just thought for ease I'd rather use a mechanical pencil to draw it all out rather than try and use one of the colored pencils to sketch out this design on the paper. It's based off of what was in that zine from Scrawlrbox, but then I took it my own direction by adding gems to the center of these diamond shapes. We first start with the dark blue color, which is called Lagoon. I used that one to create the diamond shapes. I rounded off the inside corners just to give it a little bit of flair, kind of like what they did in the example in the zine or zine. And this was very time consuming. I couldn't believe how long this took just to draw these out. I mean, I'm thinking, oh, I can, whip out a couple drawings on these 2 pages. It shouldn't take me more than like 45 minutes, half an hour, maybe an hour max. But it took an hour for each page pretty much. And I didn't even do a lot of thinking about what I was going to draw. I kind of already had a good idea what I wanted to do to fill the pages. But colored pencils are time consuming. Very time consuming. I can't believe how time consuming they are, but they are. And I was trying to think back, like when like when you're kids and you have colored pencils, you're coloring in your coloring book and everything. Did it really take that long to color a page? I mean, I never thought about it, but I guess so. I guess that's why parents really like, giving their kids a coloring book and pencils, because it can consume so much of their time and they don't even know it, and they're just busy coloring away. And time flies. So I'm thinking that's what these are reminding me of, how to consume a lot of time and get very little done. So here you go. I got the page all filled out. I did the one set of these diamonds with the lagoon, and then I made the light colored gem inside of it using the Carolina blue. So I thought since I had 6 colors, I wanted to combine them all together and use all 6 on this page. So I combined the lagoon and the Carolina blue together. And then I did the slate gray with the Caribbean and green. And then I filled in later using the saffron, mango, and the light mauve. And you will see that in a bit. And I kind of chose to combine those colors together just based on what felt like they would be the best that would look together as a set of 3 colors inside of one square. I don't know why I chose what I chose. I just kind of thought, hey, these 3 really work well together, and these 3 really work well together. There was no real deep thought into it. I don't know. It's just kind of, that's what I thought would look good together, and that's what I did. I mean, I've got quite a lot of pencil to use up, so I can make a lot of fun choices, see how it works out, and if it doesn't work out, I can turn the page and try again, because there is still a lot of pencil left. My hand was starting to cramp after this, and wow. It was something coloring these 2 pages, and I will say that I have a lot of mad respect for colorists, people who color in coloring books here on YouTube, because wow, you guys must have hands of steel or something, because this was like a lot of pressure to get the pigment down on the paper. Maybe this isn't great paper for colored pencils. I don't know. The pencils are soft, but filling in the tooth and everything to get it to look really nice and really smooth and all was taking really quite a bit of pressure and coloring and smushing, and the paper was not very happy about it, because I put a white sheet underneath it, and you could see where on the other side of the paper where I had done those testing samples, that it had rubbed off color onto that white sheet of paper. So I don't know if I did the other side really thick and there was just a lot of pigment that I could rub it off, or this paper is just too thin for what I'm doing to it, and it doesn't like to be manhandled like this, because it really dents very easily, this paper, and you will see that when I do use the paint marker and I do a lot of blending on the second page. It actually dented the paper. So I will have to think of how to creatively work around that when I go to color on the other side of that paper. Maybe I'll just use marker on the other side and then not have to worry about the dents that I put in it. I guess we'll see. You can see here I'm now doing the diamond shapes with that Caribbean green, and then I will be making the gem shape inside using the slate gray. I know slate gray is not really a gem color, but I thought it contrasted really well. I have one diamond that's a dark color, and then the other one is a lighter color, and then inside is the opposites, so that it creates a really nice little pattern. No, I wasn't very careful with drawing these. I was just drawing and wanting to fill the page, and you know, kind of one of those doodles where you just don't think about it, and it doesn't need to be perfect. You just are filling the page and mindlessly filling up this grid with these squares or diamond shapes, and just trying to forget about everything that's going on and just filling up the squares and the grids and creating this seamless pattern across the page. And yes, on the left I did forget to fill in those ones, and I will fill those in. No worries, don't worry about it. They will get filled in. Now you see I have the saffron mango and the light mauve, and I was like, which one looks better to color in that blank space? And I thought the light mauve went better with the two blue colors, and then that saffron mango went better with the slate gray and Caribbean green. Thought that was a good combo to mix together. And yeah, this light mauve is very, very light. It doesn't really contrast and show up on this toned gray paper. I'm kind of hoping that by the time I'm done using up all the pages in this toned gray paper, that I still have some of this light mauve left over so I can use it on some white paper, or maybe I'll just design a piece on some white paper and some black paper to see if this light mauve will show up better on that. And the same goes for that saffron mango. They do not show well on this toned gray paper. They're very, I don't know, they're kind of in the same tonal range or something like that. I'm not sure what it's called, but they just don't really appear well. I mean, I see here on camera like this saffron mango really is showing up well, but in person it really doesn't. It's really muted and really, hardly visible to the naked eye. But I just wanted to use up these colors in between here so that I can say I used all 6 colors on this page, so that I can start using them down. And you'll see that they get very blunted by the end, and I do sharpen them before I do the second artwork on the second page, and I will show you how far that is. And then at the end I also take a measurement as well and compare it to that unsharpened one that I found, just so you guys can see how it's going. It's, I think I'm going to be lucky if I finish using these up within a month. I know other boxes might be harder, like if you get like a full paint pan set of paints, that I think would be very difficult to use up in a month. Unless you did really a lot of paintings and really big paintings, because I know watercolor paint lasts forever. Unless you have like some really cheap stuff that you can really put dents in the wells, but I think the better ones, like Derwent and everything that you usually get in the boxes, or at least what I usually get in the Scrawlrbox, since that's my only current box that I get these days. That one usually has like Derwent or, you know, A brand name stuff in it, and those ones usually last forever. So I think that one would be a real big challenge to use up. But I'm hoping I can at least use down these colored pencils and the paint markers within a month's time. It's going to be really fun to see if I can or not. Like I said, this is part 2 of the video, and if you want to see more from this and follow along this series, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video and leave a comment if you could, please, so that it gets pushed out to others who might be interested in trying such a challenge or just following along this challenge. And maybe you yourself even want to give it a go. I'd be really curious to know if anybody else can use down a set of 6 pencils within a month's time. And I'm really curious to know if that's even been done, if it's possible. So please comment down below if you've tried it, or if you know of somebody else here on YouTube that has done something like this and used up a set of pencils, a set of 6, not a full set of 24, something like that, but a set of 6 within a month. I'd like to know. I'm really curious. So here we go. I'm filling in the gemstones, giving them a little bit of depth, just coloring them in. And like I say always, I try to keep the light source from the top left, so that's how I'm shading everything, and just, you know, keeping it very rough. It's just to be a fun little sketch, little doodle, little pattern. That's why I didn't erase any of the pencil. I just left that on there, and we're just filling the page to fill the page to get these used down. And we'll also have a good time with them as well and learn something. Maybe it's something I'll incorporate in another artwork or for fun in something else. I just find it really fun and relaxing to doodle some gems as well. Here we go. This is how far they are down. They're pretty much nubs, so I thought I'd better sharpen them before I try doing another artwork with them. Otherwise, I'm not going to get much for a fine line. This is the pencil sharpener I'm using. It is an AF-matte automatic pencil sharpener. I really love it. It's really good. It doesn't take away too much. It does just the right amount, and it saves my hand from using a manual pencil sharpener, because there's no way I could do this plus coloring and sharpening them manually. No. I'm sorry. No way. As you can see, it doesn't eat a lot of the pencil away when it sharpens it. It does a really great job. I have it set on a medium to low setting, and I can link it down below in the description box if you're interested in one. It was like 45, I believe, euros I paid. I think it's probably a similar price in dollars. Here you go. See, look, that's how far down I am already. Yay! You can actually see that I've used them down. And let me get my ruler. And it's a centimeter ruler. Sorry guys, I forgot to grab my inch ruler for everybody else. But the point is, you can see there's actually usage, and they are actually wearing down after 2 big artworks. And then you can see I'm about a centimeter down, which is just under ½ an inch pretty much. So yay! Now for the second artwork, I'm going to be drawing pieces from this bee art. I was going to draw the bee and a flower, but then after doing the other one, I thought, no, I'm just going to draw some really fun little bits from that artwork. I'm just going to draw that martini glass because that just looked so cute and fun and simple, and I could, get that drawn out, shaded and colored and all that. And then I draw the sunglasses, or the sunnies, and I make them look like the flowers like they are in the bee picture. I really thought that was a cute idea. And I used the yellow am called Saffron Mango and the Carolina Blue. I'm going to have these names memorized by the time I'm done using these pencils up. I'm not going to call them yellow and blue anymore. They are going to be Saffron Mango and Carolina Blue. I put first down the Saffron Mango to give it a nice yellow, and then I used a bit of the Carolina Blue to add some shading and depth to the glass so that the drink looks like it is like a little see-through, a little translucent, and like you would be seeing something from the background, a little reflection and whatnot. Then I took the white paint marker. I used the big bullet end to fill in the glass, and it kind of pilled the paper a little, so I had to go over it with a very light hand so it would stop pilling the paper. I then used the fine point so that I could give the glass a nice sharp edge, because of course with the bullet point it did not make a nice sharp point. I picked off a piece of the pilled paper with the point of the marker and put it on my scrap piece of paper. I also widened the base so it looked a little like it would actually hold the glass up and it wouldn't fall over. The first one I had was a little too thin. I then went around, cleaned up a little bit of the mess. I also found out with this paint marker, you kind of have to go slow when using the bullet end, because otherwise the paint comes out very thin and very runny. So that's a tip if you have these markers. At least that's what happened for me, that I had to go really slowly to make sure that I got full coverage on the page. Otherwise it was going to pill it because I'd have to do multiple layers. So that's not good at all. And then if I went slower, then I got more paint and I had better coverage. It did take quite a while to dry, so then when I went over it with that yellow Saffron Mango pencil, it kind of pilled up the paint a little. I wasn't ecstatic about that. So then I thought, okay, I can't put in any shadows or any fun things into the glass part yet, so I will just add the shadow to the glass. And for that I used the slate gray. I went around first very lightly to create that edge, and then I kind of like did little swirls to create a shadow along the side, so this looks like it's a little 3D sticker sticking out on the page. And then I went back around and created a darker line highlighting the glass. And then finally the paint was dry, so I could add some of that into the glass part as well to give that shadow and depth. And I think it's a little sad that you can't see any of the blue or yellow that I add to it. It's just too light, too blown out from this distance. But it does in person add a little bit of a more glassy feel to it, because you see the yellow being reflected through the glass, and the glass always to me seems like it has like this blue highlight to it, blue reflection. So I added some blue through the white part of the paint. I then just added 3 little dots because I wanted to look like that was like a yellow gem or something. I don't know. I had to add 3 dots. That's just my thing. I had to add the 3 dots to it. So now I am sketching out these sunglasses. I sketched the inner part of the sunglass, and then I forgot about the fact that I was going to make them look like daisies. So the eyepieces are a little close together, and then the side parts that go over your ear are a little too short, and they also get cut off a bit more because I forgot about the rounding part to make them look like flowers. So that gets eaten up a bit, but I think they still turned out kind of cute in the end. And I left quite a bit of this real time after I get done with the sketching, because I wanted to show you how I was able to create that, like the sunglasses part, you know, like when sun is shining through them, if they're sitting on your desk, you see like this white, well not white, but like a lighter gray part of the sunglasses because light is shining through them. And that was a really cool effect, and I was so happy that I could create that effect with just these 6 pencils. I thought it turned out really cool, and I do a lot of round circles, and at the bottom here I'm really just like glazing over the paper really lightly, and at the top left I'm going over it very heavy-handedly in these dark circles, creating a really dark thick layer of the slate gray and the lagoon blue, so that it creates that kind of sunglass color where it's this dark blackish bluish color. And in the bottom left here I'm going to be going over it with the saffron mango to create that light looking through, peeking through type that you see when you have sunglasses sitting on the table and light is shining through them. I thought this turned out really cool. I really liked it. And then, of course, creating the depth so they look like, you know, they have some mass and 3D-ness and thickness and everything like that. These were really fun. I had a real blast creating these. I thought, wow, that's really cool. Just with 6 little pencils, how you can create something like this very easily. Well, very easily. It was still a lot of work. It was a lot of circles, a lot of filling, and a lot of mashing in the pigment into the paper. And yeah, but it was still fun. I thought that was really cool that you can do that. And I mostly got inspired to do this because of that color grid that I did first thing with the pencils. I knew that if I laid this color over a darker color, that I could get that kind of hazy grayish look by mixing the two together. And then I thought, well, what if I add the lagoon to it, the blue color? Because sometimes the glasses, you know, they have that blackish bluish look to it when you have sun shining through them. So I was just like combining a little bit of everything to get that look, and I really think I achieved that. As you can see, it's a lot of layering and a lot of circles, round and round and round. That's pretty much everything that I did to create this look. I just went round and round, lots of layers and bigger circles, smaller circles, but mostly doing it in circles so that you can get a better coverage and you get that softness and the blending all the way through. And yes, you can still see quite a bit of the paper through, but the more I blend, the more pigment I add, the more I burnish it down, it really comes to life. And especially once I add in the white paint marker for the frames, it really just pops right off the page. And I did some real fun shadows and highlights on the white as well, just to be a little silly, a little goofy, and have some fun with this. The second eyeglass sunglass part, I'm not going to make you watch in full because it's basically just a repeat of the left side. Same system with the yellow, the light blue, let's see, saffron mango, Carolina blue, slate gray, lagoon. All of those are mixed in there to create that highlight and the lightness through it. And it's just layers and layers and layers and circles around and around and around. It's all it is. And layering it over and over and over again. And then I add some to the other side just to keep getting that darkness. And here you see I'm now creating the outline of the sunglasses, the frame. And I'm going really slowly with that bullet end. And then you see how I get a nice, thick, opaque line. That was really important with these ones. I don't know if I can say that about other paint markers, that you have to go so slow to get a nice, thick, solid line like this. But I've never done anything similar to this, so then maybe that is just how it is. You have to go nice and slow, and then you get a nice, thick, solid line. I then outlined the rest of it because I was like, oh, if I fill this in with white, how am I going to be able still to see the outlines and still have that effect? So I thought, okay, I'm going to fill it in and then I'm going to color it in and stay within the lines. And like for the sides, I went up and down. And then for the middle part, I went up and down as well for the bridge of the sunglasses. But the part around the glasses part, the sunglass part, I did in like these circles, so you kind of get a bit of a texture and a bit of an effect. That kept it so that it looked, you could still see the white outline that I drew, and then it kind of gave it a bit more fun to it. Again, you see here, I'm going kind of quickly with the circles, and how then when I went quickly, it's a little bit translucent. And sometimes I would get globs of paint out, which in this case worked really well because it gave me that texture that I wanted on the front of the sunglasses. I then let it dry well, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna use the Carolina blue for in the shadows, just to give it a little, you know, more depth to it, to separate out the white from the white, so I could have something that is, you know, have some more depth without having to use the black or the fine liner or the black paint marker to give it that. I then went around the bottom, using this light Carolina blue color to give it shade and shadow, and then I used the saffron mango at the top there where like the sunlight would be hitting them, so that'd be bright and give a bit of a yellow reflection. I then of course used the slate gray for the shadow around them, again keeping in mind that the light is coming from the top left. That's what I like to do. It keeps everything symmetrical then, and everything seems to fit together on the page because the light is coming from the same place for every item, for every object on the page. And then added some more to the sunglasses because I thought they were still a little light. And then I thought I was going to use the black paint marker for the fine lining around the glasses, but then I thought, no, could be a little too much, so I thought I would try the fine liner over the pencil and over the paint marker, and that actually went well. I don't think it clogged it up at all, so that was a good use of that. I then was going to do a blue highlight around the top. Then I thought, no, I'm going to do more of that yellow across the top and over where the light hits. And then that meets where the blue is, or the slate gray. And that gives you then, a bit of a contrast, a bit of a dual, what do they call it? A dual lighting? Two lightings, two bright lightings? I don't know what it's called. But where you get that contrasting lighting from two different sides. So I have a yellow and a blue lighting, and that was what I drew on the second page. And then I thought, should I draw some more? And I was like, my hand is getting tired. What can I do to fill in the page? And as you see where I dented the page from doing the sunglasses part, like I said, this paper is a little too thin, I think, for this burnishing. Anyways, so then I thought, oh, you know what? I'm going to put stars on this page, and I'm going to cover the page using stars, and I'm just going to use the colors that I used in the objects that I drew. So that's what I did. I just practiced drawing some pretty sparkles or stars on the page and filled the page with that and called it a day because my hand was tired. And I wanted to call it and because I needed to be done so that I can edit this video, because like I said, it was about 2 hours of footage that I had to edit, so that was quite the task, cutting down all the boring bits, speeding up some bits so that you guys can see my process of how I was doing this, and you can see the pencils being worn down. And well, that's where I'm at on this one. And then we got part 3 coming next week, Tuesday, which is going to be fun. I don't know what I'm going to draw just yet. I still got to draw something. I got to still record it. So that will be interesting to see what we're going to do there. Maybe I will do the bee and a flower. That could be really fun. I could then fill a couple pages with the bees and flowers on that. Or maybe I'll draw some gems. Who knows? We'll see. But this was really fun. I can't believe it. 3 pages done, and about ½ an inch of pencil has been used down. Oh, and here I'm going to line them all up so you guys can see how little or how much has been used. What do you guys think? Has a lot been used down? A little bit has been used down? More than you thought? Less than you thought? So these are the 2 drawings. Again, as I said, this is part 2 of an unknown long amount of series. This is episode 2. I'll have episode 1, part 1 linked in the card and down below. If you like this, please don't forget to subscribe, comment, and share this video with others. And until the next one, guys, bye!